Alright, motherfuckers. My name is Wolfgang Carstens, and welcome to the Astro 2000 reading series. Today, I'm holding a copy of Tapping Ashes in the Dark by one of my favorite poets, Mr. Rob Plath. This book is a stellar example of everything that a chapbook could and should be. It also contains one of my favorite poems, 15 Minutes. I'd love to read it for you. 15 Minutes. I was 9 years old, and we had a picnic in a park on a lake. I remember my father loading the trunk with a big white cooler and a large bag of charcoal. Then he made my mother, my two friends, Chris and Pat, and me wait in the car while he went back into the house to go to the bathroom. "Nobody move," he said. "I'll be right out," he said. He came out 10 minutes later. I remember the way the car sank when he finally got in. "Okay, we got everything?" he asked. "I'm not making 2 trips," he said. My mother just nodded as he backed us down the driveway. The side of his head was sweating. "I'm fucking wringing wet already," he said. It was a 15-minute ride. As we finally rolled down the long, dusty road to the picnic area, Chris, Pat, and I talked about finding a small waterfall that ran at the start of the lake. "Don't be wandering off anywhere," my father said. The car lurched forward a little as he shifted into the parking gear. We all got out into the heat of the wide-open dirt parking lot. Chris, Pat, and I carried the cooler and the bag of charcoal. "I don't want to be sitting in no fucking sun," my father said. "There, we're going to sit right there," he pointed. It was a shady gray table beneath some giant oaks. An old black grill stuck out of the ground among some early fallen leaves. Yellow jackets hovered over a metal garbage drum. In a little while, my father had the barbecue smoking. I remember sticking a long piece of dry grass through the grill slats onto a hot coal, and my father yelling, "I'm not going to warn you again. Stay away from the fire." After we ate hot dogs and hamburgers, Chris, Pat, and I went for a walk. "Don't be going far," my father commanded. "We'll just walk to the stables to look at the horses," I lied. "I don't want to be waiting around for anybody," he said. We walked along a bridle path, which was sandy and had big lumps of horse manure dropped all over it. Flies scattered as our sneakers kicked up dry, dusty sand. The bridle path was supposed to lead down to the waterfall. "You can hear the water when you get close enough," Chris said. We walked and walked, determined to find the waterfall. We weren't thinking about how long the trip back would take. Then the bridle path forked. "Now what do we do?" Pat said. "Let's walk a little farther," I said. We all decided to keep walking on the path closest to the shore. That's when we found the duck skeleton hanging in a web of branches. Its white bones picked clean. Its shape preserved perfectly. We all stood and stared silently. "Let's go back," Pat said. "Yeah, let's go," I said. As we turned back, swarms of gnats swirled in the setting sun. The sand, deep at times, slowed us down. When we finally got back to the picnic area, all the people had packed up. I saw my father's short-sleeved button-down shirt glowing. He was standing next to the car, and my mother was frozen in the front seat. "Get in the fucking car and don't say a word," he growled. He was looking at me. Chris and Pat looked scared. We squeezed into the back seat. The headlights clicked on, and suddenly my father exploded. "I ask him not to go off, and what does the cocksucker do?" he shouted. In the oncoming headlights, you could see his spray of spit on the windshield. He didn't care at all that my friends were right in the back seat. "I can't even have a good time without this fuck ruining it," he screamed. "I had to wait 2 fucking hours for this little prick," he yelled. "Now we don't go anywhere for the rest of the summer," he screamed. "I've had it with this motherfucker," he added. "Don't you think that is enough?" my mother finally said. "I don't know why the fuck I bother," he yelled. "I can't stand this little motherfucker," he screamed. "All he causes me is aggravation," he spit out. "I can't wait to go back to fucking work," he yelled. "This isn't no vacation spent with this cocksucker," he added. Finally, the front tires bumped up the lip of the driveway. The headlights snapped off. Then there was silence. My 15 minutes of fame were finally up. And that, my friends, is the power of a good, raw poem. Tapping Ashes in the Dark is available now from Lummox Press. Grab yourself a copy.